Hey guys, welcome to the Little Garden Kitchen. Today I am making up for the first time ever, I've never done this before, celery salt. I have grown some beautiful celery in my garden this year, and I just did a harvest this morning, and I just looked it up to see how to make celery salt, and it's super simple. So I'm going to show you the process that I'm following here today. So what I've done so far is washed the celery. The best part for celery salt is the leaves, so that is why I am working on them. I did cut off some of the stalks here. I'm going to use this in a dish that I'm cooking tonight, so not going to be using too much stalk, mostly leaf. So you want to make sure that it is as dry as possible so that when you are dehydrating it, it doesn't take so long. You want that salt and celery to, dry up. I'm going to be using a dehydrator for mine, but you can also do this in the oven if you don't have a dehydrator. So I'm just starting off by loosely chopping up the celery here. And the recipe that I'm following calls for a half a cup of salt and 2 cups of chopped up celery. So we'll see how much I can get out of this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have more than enough celery for sure. This smells so good. So I like to use celery salts, of course, in all sorts of cooking dishes. It's a nice additive, some flavor to soups, or if you're making some sort of maybe a rub for meat, it's a nice addition to a spice rub. Of course, it's great for if you're making Caesars, making a rimmer for your Caesars. That's always a good thing to use, the celery salt. So I'm just going to pack this down. I'm pretty sure everything I have here is going to be enough to get us to that 2-cup mark. Again, I'm just trying to get any extra moisture out of here that I can. So if this is your first time joining me on my channel, my name's Tracy and I am a year-round gardener living on the prairies in Saskatchewan, Canada, growing zone 3. We are at mid-August, so it's that time of year when there is all sorts of things coming out of the garden. You take a trip out there every morning and usually come back with a basket full of stuff. So that's why today I just thought I got all this beautiful celery here. This is a simple way to use it and have something in your cupboard that will be there all winter long. We'll see how much I end up with here. Maybe I'll be able to share it with my daughters, make a nice little gift. I also plan to do this with herbs. I got a whole bunch of herbs ready to harvest, make a herbal salt. So you can watch for that video coming to the channel as well. So like I said, I'm just loosely chopping this up. I'm not getting it too fine. I'm hoping the food processor will be able to chop it up fine enough for me. So I'm just going to put this all into this measuring cup here. And yeah, that's a nice 2-cup size there of the chopped up celery leaves. I'm using pink sea salt that I got from, I think, Costco here. So it's pretty chunky. So I'm going to be putting that in with the celery here when we grind it up, because I'm going to want it ground up as well. So I'm just going to dump it here into my food processor. Salt. And we will start giving it a few quick blitzes here. I'm just going to use the chop feature. Okay. Just have a little quick look here. See what it looks like. Looks like the Celery's getting chopped up really good, and the salt is still pretty chunky. So we're going to give it a few more blitzes here before we spread it out in my dehydrator. Just going to give this a little stir here. I'm thinking that it's looking like this salt is pretty chunky, and maybe I should have chopped it up previously a little bit before doing it with the celery, because the celery's chopping up pretty fine, but the salt is still pretty chunky. So as you can see here, we can have a close-up look here. The salt that I used was pretty chunky, and it didn't grind up very good using the food processor here. But what I'm going to do is I'm still going to just spread it out onto my dehydrator, dry it, get it really good and dry over the next 24 hours. And then once it's dry, I'm going to use my NutriBullet that's got the better grinding blade on it to grind it up afterwards. And my dehydrator comes with these sheets like this that are good for making fruit leather or something like this where you don't want the stuff to fall through. So I'm just going to spread it out here on as good as I can. Again, it smells so good. That celery, is nicely, finely chopped up here, so it's good. So I'm going to dehydrate this with my dehydrator at about, I think, 175 Fahrenheit. Run it for probably, 10 to 12 hours. Check on it periodically and just make sure that it is drying and kind of spread it out. Break up the big chunks as it dries. And then once it's fully dry, we can set it up in the grinder. So if you have a spice grinder, that will work good as well. I'm also suggesting that if you're using a sea salt or any kind of salt, that maybe don't start with something as chunky as what I did. That's all I had, so that's kind of why I just went with it, because I normally put it into my salt grinder, so that's why I had this chunky stuff. But again, this is a good start. I do see the odd celery leaf in here as well. Could be that just food processor isn't the best. I think for the next batch of herbal salts that I'm going to make, I'm going to start off by pre-grinding my salt using this blade here that's more of a grinder in my NutriBullet, and then go from there. So, okay, so we have this set up as good as we need for right now, and just we'll get it drying in my dehydrator here. Again, if you are doing this in the oven, you can just spread it out on parchment paper, have your oven at that lowest setting. I think, of 170, whatever your oven can go to at the lowest. Okay, so I'm actually quite surprised how quickly this dried up. I ran it maybe for about 6 hours total. Ran it yesterday afternoon and then again this morning, and it is really dry. So we are going to grind it up now. Like I said, the salt chunks are pretty big in here, so I'm just going to dump it into something a little easier to work with, because these little circle things are a little tricky to pour off of. So I'm just going to pour this in here and we will give it a blitz. Should be ready to jar up. So be sure to check out some of the links in my description box below. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a year-round gardener. I like to show how you can grow food and do it 12 months of the year, no matter where you live, no matter what kind of climate you're in. So I have a link to my little garden newsletter where you can get some free downloads on different cold climate gardening methods. I also have my indoor growing community that I would love people to join, which teaches you very simple, indoor hydroponics. So this is what I do in the winter time. I grow herbs, lettuces, tomatoes, cucumbers. I try all sorts of things using a simple hydroponic method. It's not super expensive to get into hydroponics, and I show how you can do it in a simple way. And also, if you want to test it out for free for 7 days, there is a 7-day free trial for my beginner course into hydroponics. And then from there, you are part of a community of other growers where you can learn and grow and share. We'll be doing live sessions, all sorts of different things. So check out all those things in the link in the description box below. Okay, so using this is a great way to get that ground up really quickly. And this is now a beautiful fine salt that I can put into some containers now. It's too bad that you can't transport the smells over online into video, because man, does this ever smell good. And I just want to show you a close-up of what it looks like. That pink sea salt is now nicely finely ground up, and all those little bits of celery are all in there. This thing is loaded with flavor, and I can't wait to use it in my cooking. So let me know in the comments if you grew celery this year in your outdoor garden and what you like to use it for, how you preserve it for use over the winter. And if you'd like to see more of these videos of things that I'm doing in my kitchen here, you can subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next video.